Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle live stream, usually happening every Thursday at 4, but I had to make an adjustment and I'm going to blame Mercury retrograde. Um, so happy Lammas. Today is a very special day, being August 1st, and everything always works out, right? We want to affirm that everything always works out for me. So I'm going to affirm that. I got back from Florida late or early yesterday morning. I had to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and I just did not have it in me to pull together a show where I could really give you the information I wanted to give you. So I figured, okay, it's about self-love and self-care. Sometimes we have to take care of ourselves first so that we can do the things that we need to do. So I decided to adjust it and move it to today, which is Friday, August 1st, the first Lammas. We celebrate where the pagans and the witches celebrate Lammas or Lughnasadh, which is the first of three harvest festivals. So it all worked out because doing this show on the first on a Friday just made more sense and kind of is in line with what's going on with llamas. So let's talk about that. And I do want to share that as you're watching, whether it's a Facebook channel or Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, you can comment. I can see your comments, put them in the show, ask any questions, make any comments. And I just wanted to invite you to do that. So let's talk about this llamas. As I said before, on August 1st, we celebrate Lammas. It's the first of the harvest festivals um, that is in time with the agricultural type societies. And so Lammas is a time where we can give thanks for abundance and reflect on our personal growth and also to prepare for the darker half of the year. Because as you know, winter solstice, that's where the kind of sun is just starting to get bigger and bigger. The longest night of the year, shortest day. And then we come to the summer solstice in June, usually around June 21st or 20th, kind of depends. But that is the maximum solar power time. And we have this energy of the sun, and as hot as it's been in July, we've had this experience, in July, but on August 1st, that's when I noticed that the sun is starting to shift. It gets a little cooler. It is cooler where I am now. And, we start to see the intensity of the sun just start to get less. And the other part of this is that celebrating the first harvest, right? Second harvest is the autumn equinox, and then the third harvest is Halloween or Samhain. So this is kind of we're tuning into the cycles of nature. By doing that, because we are part of nature, we can be more in harmony and balance in our lives and live an easier life and avoid a lot of difficulty. So this is why I like to celebrate llamas. And I remember one llamas in 1995 is when I moved my bookstore from Dunedin, Florida to Palm Harbor, Florida, in a brand new brand new to me, but it was a historic building. And I remember having a celebration of llamas. So I want to share with you some things that you can do during this llamas to celebrate. And I want to let you know that I'm getting this information from Paula Collins, who has this website. It's serenewellnesswithpaula.com. And I'm on her mailing list, so I get her information in her newsletter, but I also interviewed her a few months ago, actually, and I'm getting that interview ready. So that'll be part of the Good Vibes TV series where I interview different enlightened influencers about frequency and how to work with energy and different things like that. So uh, Paula is great because she talks about the pagan cycle, the wheel of the year. And so Lammas is this celebration time where we, again, get in tune and celebrate the first harvest in our lives. And of course, we're not all. Um, farmers now, but the same principles apply in our everyday life. So, again, from Paula Collins, this is something that I got in her newsletter. I'm doing a show on her, and I would love for you to go again to her website, sign up for her newsletter, and this is where you can get this kind of information. I'm on her, or I follow her on Facebook, and she sends this information that's great throughout the year, to remind us to do different things to get in touch with our spirituality. So this is all from her post that I got in the newsletter she sent. So I want to give credit where credit is due. So some of the things she recommends spiritually, what we could do when Lammas is around is to ask this question: what are you harvesting in your life right now? Because I said this is a time of first harvest. So now the seeds that you planted in the spring should be getting those first fruits that we can harvest. So, what is that in your life? This is a great time to ask this question. Another question to ask is, what are you ready to release so you can make space for what's next? Because we are starting to wind down summer, get into the fall, and kids getting ready to go back to school or college. This is kind of the getting ready for this new cycle that we're entering. So it's a great time to declutter and make room for what's next. Next thing that we can do, or the question that we can ask during Lammas, is how can you honor the sacred season with joy and reverence? So these are all some great questions to ask as you're going into a meditation or just wanting to contemplate on this very special day. Now, Paula also shares, here are some ways to celebrate the first harvest, and I love these. The first one is to set up a harvest altar with seasonal fruits and grains and candles. So, to have that altar that's seasonal in your home is a great way to show reverence to Mother Nature and to kind of get in tune with the cycles of the earth. The next thing that can be done, celebrate the harvest, is to bake bread or share a nourishing meal with intention, because everything we do, it's about intention. What's the intention behind doing this? What's the why? Why are we doing this? And what is it that I want to create or do with this particular ritual? So anyway, bake bread, and the reason, because it's the first harvest of when the farmers are starting to cut down the grain to make bread. And the next thing that we could do to celebrate the first harvest is to light a candle and name the blessings that you've received this year. So this is kind of like a gratitude candle where we're being grateful for what's we've accomplished so far this year, the first harvest. So that's a really nice ritual to do. Another one that she suggests is to write down and release what you are ready to let go of in a small fire ritual. So I've talked about the burning bowl before during a full moon, how you can write down what it is you want to let go of. Write it on a piece of paper, and then you watch it burn and kind of release it to the universe. So this is a ritual that can be done during Lammas, and again, that idea of making room for the new. And the last suggestion that Paula Collins has is take a nature walk and honor the turning of the wheel. Again, this is based on the turning of the pagan wheel, which has the 12 different kind of seasons or rituals, um, celebrations of the year that's aligned with what's going on with Mother Earth. So this is a great time to go outside intentionally and walk in nature. So, and she has this wonderful Lammas blessing that I wanted to share with you guys. So the Lammas blessing is: may you honor the beauty of your harvest, the wisdom in your letting go, and the sacred rhythm of your life. So I love that. Lammas blessing. May you honor the beauty of your harvest, the wisdom in your letting go, and the sacred rhythm of your life. So again, this comes from Serene Wellness with Paula. Go to her website, check out. She's got some classes happening all throughout the year, and look forward to my episode that I'll be doing with her regarding being a Magdalene priestess. So there is that about Lammas. So let's now talk about some astrological news. Of course, August 1st is today. But as far as where the sun is, we'll look at where the sun is, where the moon is. The sun is in the sign of Leo. So happy birthday to all of my Leos out there. My husband's birthday is coming up on August 10th. And yeah, this is the season of the lion. And Leos are, and the energy of Leo is to be heart centered. They have very big hearts. And also the energy of being courageous, especially in our expression of things. Leo is a sign of creativity, of sovereignty, right? Being self governed or, being the captain of our own ship. And again, courage, is part of the Leo um, expression. So that's where we are now as far as the sun. And as far as the moon, we're in the waxing phase of the moon because, as you know, last week, about a week ago, we had the new moon that was also in the sign of Leo on July 24th. And so that was last Thursday. And so that's the beginning of the lunar cycle. And then it waxes or gets bigger as we get to the full moon in Aquarius, which will be August 9th. So I always like to mark those down in my calendar so I know what the energy is. And this is why I share it with you guys. So the Aquarius moon, just a little bit about it now. I'll talk more about it next week. The Aquarius full moon has to do with authenticity, has to do with truth, networking, the future, and even space and aviation. So those are some things that the qualities of that full moon as we build up to that energy. And so the other thing that's going on right now that started on July 28th is the Lion's Gate portal. And this happens every year. And so it's a period of time from July 28th to August 12th where there is, this actually peaks on 8/8. So that's why they call it the Lion's Gate. The eights have to do with the energy of abundance. And so this is a great time to be focusing on your abundance. We were just talking about our harvest, our first harvest, right? So that's just the beginning of a season of harvesting. Regarding what actually astrologically happens during the Lionsgate portal is that the sun in Leo, the sign of Leo, aligns with the star Sirius, which is part of the Orion system. And so this is when Orion's belt, those three stars in the Orion constellation, are actually aligned with the three pyramids in Giza. So, um, so this is a very powerful, energetic gateway and considered a time to do potent time for manifestation, spiritual awakening, and heart expansion. Leo ruling the heart. So eight is seen as a symbol of infinity, abundance, and balance. And the 8/8 date is considered a numerological portal. So we've got several portals and energies that are all aligning. The sun in Leo, we're in this waxing full moon. We've got the Lammas, right? Today, that celebration. And now we are also in, and I'll talk more about the 8/8 portal next week because we'll be talking on the 6th and it happens 2 days later. So I'll give you some more information, but we're still in that portal. So this is a great time to be working on our intentions. And because, let's see here, um, because Mercury is retrograde and has been since, let's see, July 18th. It will go direct on August 11th, early in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. So we are in this Mercury retrograde, which tends to force us to go within, right? To really go within, do the internal work, ask those questions, reset, see where you're going, look at your plans, look at your intentions and goals. And, Mercury has to do with communication. So it's about self communication, not always external, but really going internal and, talking to yourself and finding out, what am I doing? Am I on the right trajectory? Because now's the time to adjust. Um, so, Mercury is the planet of communication and also travel. And it's a time to reflect and return rather than to initiate new things. So this is the energy that we're in. So, use it to your advantage. If you're trying to do the opposite, like really push forward with external things, more than likely those things are going to be kind of held back or blocked. Or if you do find that you're hitting walls and because you're starting something new, maybe kind of back up and reassess things and then move forward when Mercury goes direct, which will be on August 11th. All right. So, next up in our show here is a little update on UFO and UAP disclosure. So, big news this week is that Senator Schumer and Senator Rounds, they had that UAP Disclosure Act. They were able to get it into the National Defense Authorization Act, which is something that has to happen. So now the Senate part of the bill is where it needs to be, and next it's up to the House to do their part, and that's where Eric Burleson and Representative Anna no Paulina Anna Paulina Luna. There, she heads up the task force for government secrets or the disclosure of secrets, and she's focusing now more on the Epstein stuff. But Eric Burleson has committed to sticking with the UAP disclosure information. So that's happening. So big things happened this week. And if you took part in the call to actions for Citizens for Disclosure, thank you, thank you, thank you, because all those emails and phone calls to these Congress people is what gets the squeaky wheel the oil. And all of us doing this from a grassroots effort is so important. So, what I want to talk about now, the last 2 weeks, I played some clips from Danny Sheehan, the president of the New Paradigm Institute, and he was talking about 4 dimensions in this UAP discussion. So, the first one we talked about has to do with the public hearings, and what we know as of late is that they are supposed to happen in September, early September. These were the hearings that were supposed to happen in July and didn't. They were having some issues getting these whistleblowers to come forward because they take a lot. They risk a lot by going forward because they get retaliation from the different shadow government agencies or defense contractors, or pensions threatened to be taken away, and even death threatened for them and their families. So they really expose themselves, and so that's why there's also some legislation to protect the whistleblowers. So anyway, Danny talks about 4 dimensions. The public hearings is one, the legislation is second, which is the UAP Disclosure Act. The third he talked about last week has to do with behind the scenes, what's going on, what organizations are organizing together, working together, things behind the scenes to prepare and do these public hearings and legislation. The fourth one he's going to talk about now has to do with the ET agenda. So let me pull his video up. It's about 9 minutes long, so bear with us as you listen to it, but it's well worth listening to. This is where he talks about the ET agenda. Danny Sheen, president of the New Paradigm Institute.
And it's one that people rarely talk about. You hear it mentioned periodically, and that is, what is the agenda of the ET people? Or the people that are responsible for assuming that these vehicles, these UFO vehicles, are all not, in fact, some super secret military vehicles that have been developed by our United States Defense Department in aerospace industry, secretly, which we do not. We do not assume that they're all that. We do agree there's this ongoing debate as to how much progress that they have made in reverse engineering the actual original extraterrestrial UFO craft. But the bottom line is we're absolutely convinced that there are genuinely non-human origin craft that are in the possession of our government, and that they are being back engineered or reverse engineered to generate these man-made dubs of these UFOs. So the bottom line is, however, that how many real UFOs do you have to have land, to have the issue put to us? So right, so the issue has been put that we are in fact being visited by beings from a non-human, extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional realm somewhere that are coming and going from our planet, and they're piloting these craft that we refer to as UFOs, and that they're coming and going, and so that this question arises in the fourth dimension of this whole issue: is what are they doing here? What is their agenda? That are they, in fact, as it appears, is quite certain. We're quite certain that they are actually abducting human beings and actually doing physical experiments with us. They're involved in gathering lots of flora and fauna, different types of genetic material from around our planet, with all of the different animals and plants. We know this because there are hundreds of witnesses who have testified to seeing them doing this, right? So we know that that's going on, but the fact of the matter is, as we all know, they could at any time they would choose to, is to land in the middle of an NFL Super Bowl playoff, just land and say, here we are, here's the biggest television audience every year in the history, and here we are now. It's better than landing on the White House lawn, but they could do that, but they're not doing that. And so this fourth dimension is that what we're working on right now at the New Paradigm Institute, working at trying to figure out what the agenda is, and whether or not there is some kind of a unified juridical organization that all of the different species belong to. We know that there's at least a half a dozen of these species. We've talked about them. We've done a seminar on them. I would recommend again that if you haven't seen it, we did a seminar with the Ubiquity University that I held, I think 5 90-minute classes reviewing a lot of the basic information that we know already. And one of the things is that we know that there are the short grays and the tall grays. We know that these tall grays appear to be of the same species of the little 3.5 to 4 foot high ET beings. We know that there's a reptilian species that is humanoid, like they're 5.5 to 6 feet tall. They have a trunk and legs and arms and heads, and walk around. They're almost humanoid. We know that there's these tall, 7 foot tall, what they call the mantis people, extraordinarily skinny and thin. They remind people of a praying mantis, actually, and so they're called the mantis people. We know there are different species of these extraterrestrial beings, and we therefore assume that they probably come from different star systems, or at least different planets. So this is an extraordinary piece of information, and that what we're talking about at the New Paradigm Institute, that the revelation of this reality, transcends a lot of the debates about how many fake UFOs have been built by our Defense Department. What's the alternative energy source that they've got? What kind of new materials are they going to provide to us? The fact of the matter is, the fact that there is such a civilization coming here and visiting us is the overwhelming reality that is going to permeate our entire human culture once it's verified to an absolute certainty. Now, many of you are already certain that this is true because you've had direct encounters with the beings. Once you've had them visit you, there's no doubt anymore in your mind that this is true. But most of us are still working off from information that we've gotten from other people. So we're working to get this information absolutely, totally confirmed, and we're working, very importantly, on attempting to develop a new paradigm, an alternative human worldview that will enable us to absorb the information that is going to be provided to us by this extraterrestrial civilization, because we're assuming that in light of the high level of technology that they have developed, to be able to come and go from their star system to ours, that they have a series of other discoveries that they have made, not only in the field of technology, but even potentially in the field of philosophy, in the field of theology, in the field of physics in general. You know, this is information that is going to impact our human family in this absolutely dramatic fashion. And the reality is that the legacy group that has been keeping secret the reality of the UFO phenomenon, the reality of this extraterrestrial civilization all around us, keeping secret the fact that members of that extraterrestrial civilization are coming and going from our planet. That group that has kept all of this secret are insisting upon trying to convince as many people in the world that there is no such thing. And for that reason, our government institutions and our cultural and religious institutions have not begun the program of figuring out what to do in light of this reality. They're just waiting for somebody in an adequate position of authority to convince them. And so therefore, nobody's preparing for this. You know, it's like saying that, that we're not going to start preparing to protect our house against a fire until it's on fire. But the fact of the matter is, we know that this issue is here confronting us. And so someone has to step across the line and start taking the steps necessary to prepare our culture, to prepare our economy, to prepare our geopolitical structures, to prepare our science community and our physics, and very importantly, to prepare our churches and synagogues and temples to start to be able to absorb this information. That is the role of the New Paradigm Institute. And we would like to be able to do this in as close a cooperation as we can with the ET people. And that's why it's necessary for us to try to figure out their agenda. Okay, so this is the fourth dimension of this thing. And the New Paradigm Institute, this is our mission. Our mission is to bring this information to our human family in a responsible way, so that we can absorb it and we can gain all the advantages of it, which begin with the access to an alternative source of energy that can replace the petroleum energy on our planet, to try to stop the ever increasing damage being done by global climate change. And perhaps they have access to some technology that can assist us in reversing it. Okay. And so these are some of the preliminary advantages that we can get, but they are going to continue way into this realm of theology and philosophy and metaphysics, and getting a better understanding of our human species' place in the hierarchy of life in the universe.
So that was Danny Sheehan. And let me talk now about the Citizens for Disclosure. So I'm with the Citizens for Disclosure group, actually heading up the state of Florida as one of the state coordinators. And what I wanted to share about this is so that if you're interested in learning more, he's giving us all kinds of great information here. The place to go is the newparadigminstitute.org. I'm looking for where did it go? Just go to New Paradigm Institute. I know I was playing it, so where did it go? Huh. Oh, Mercury retrograde. Anyway, so just go to newparadigminstitute.org and you can actually become part of the Citizens for Disclosure movement, which is happening. And you'll learn more from Danny Sheehan, what's going on these four different levels. So I find it to be very interesting. And one of the things that I'm doing to kind of help, like he was talking about, we need to start talking and preparing for when disclosure comes, the day after disclosure. What's it going to be like? How is it going to impact people? And so we need to start talking about this and talking about it in a way that we're comfortable, right? And more familiar with. And one of the things that I'm doing with some other state coordinators from Citizens for Disclosure is creating a program called Disclosure Dialogues, where we're actually I'm going to be doing a panel discussion with 5 other Citizen for Disclosure state coordinators. And this is actually happening. It's going to be called Disclosure Dialogues Voices of Citizens for Disclosure. And it will be on Wednesday, August 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So all you have to do is go to good-vibes.tv. You will find how to get there. There on here. Now I found the new Paradigm Institute.org logo. There it is. But Wednesday, 8 o'clock p.m., we'll be going live. I'll be live streaming just like this. Wherever you're watching this, me now, you'll just go to the same place. You'll be able to find it, or go to the YouTube channel, or just go to good-vibes.tv, because that has the buttons that take you to all of the different locations. So this is going to be really fun. It's going to happen once a month, and like the beginning of the month. So the one that happens in September, what we're planning on doing is actually restreaming the C-SPAN feed of the public hearings, and then I'll have like 5 of these state coordinators with me to do public commentary in between the different testimony that's going to happen. Also, we have someone that might be in the room, so when they get out, they can kind of give us a feel for what the room was like. So, Disclosure Dialogues coming up. First episode is going to be August 6th at 8 o'clock, and after that, look for when it's when the live hearings happen. We're going to be real flexible for September. The other thing that I am doing is I'm going to start a series where I interview the different state coordinators, especially the ones that are experiencers, and do a long discussion about that. What their experience was like, because not they're not necessarily abduction and horrible experiences. And honestly, I know some of the stories of the situations of some of the people, but we'll be learning together, getting to know them. So that series I will be in production in the next few weeks, and those will come out on a periodic basis. But Paula Collins, that will be the next interview on Good Vibes TV about her being a Magdalene priestess. So check that out. And the series regarding the experiences is going to be called Galactic Good Vibes. So look for that. That'll be coming next sometime this month, right? Okay, so let's talk about the Oracle of the Month. Every month, I highlight a different oracle, and this past month, now since this show today was supposed to be yesterday, which was July 31st, I'm going to stick with the oracle for July, and then next week we'll start the new oracle for August. But Sisterhood of the Seers Oracle. So this will be the last time that we play with this particular deck, and I want to add. Let's see. There we go. Here's what the deck looks like. And I've really enjoyed this deck. I really do like it. So I'm going to shuffle the cards, and we're going to ask Spirit to give us some information, whatever it is. I usually like to leave it general and just say whatever I need to know right now, Spirit, please share with us, and not just me, but for all of us. So let's see what card we get. And it is the Seer of Light, number 3. So keywords are inner guidance, medial nature, and cooperation. So this is number 3. The essential meaning is going inward for answers. Mercury retrograde, right? Intuition, uniting opposing forces, a bridge between worlds, compassion and love, a prism of light containing all colors. Everything is integrated in the path of light. Yeah, light. I'm very connected to light, and we'll talk a little bit more why in just a few minutes. But the seer's message: love is a bountiful force that bursts light into the world. When you receive this card, you are asked to stand as a light in the world or in any situation that appears difficult. You are requested to return to a centered way of being that is rooted in love. Ask yourself, how can I create a bridge between these thoughts, people, things, or experiences? Remind yourself that you already are a bridge between the seen and the unseen, a soul cloaked in a physical body with immense beauty, spirit, and spiritual strength. You can bridge any divide, leap over any obstacle, and unite opposing forces both within and without. You simply have to will it so. If you feel lost, turn inward and tune in to the energy of love and wait for answers to spontaneously arise. You can do this by simply taking a few deep breaths in and out while you focus your attention on an image of a middle point. You can imagine an image of a circle with a dot in it, or simply an image of a rainbow bridge. Focus on either image for as long as you can, and as you do, pay attention to any impressions and intuitive insights that naturally arise. Remember that no problem can be solved by the same consciousness that created. Einstein said that. So you must shift your perspective. For every problem, there is an equal solution. This is the law of balance. Can you arrive at a middle point? So the activation is I am centered and balanced in my beliefs of the world, myself, and others. From this loving standpoint, my world reflects harmony back to me. I easily hold duality in balance. So that I think has a lot of great messaging there for us, especially when we're talking about the others, because we're changing our consciousness and accepting the fact that there are other beings that are in different forms. And so this is really challenging our judgment, right? We want to be in a place of non-judgment and love and really open our hearts during this Leo season to, acceptance of all beings, kind of like Star Trek and Star Wars, those movies, did open our consciousness to the idea of other kinds of beings of consciousness, other spirits that are in different suits, right, for their particular lifetime. So we're in a very exciting time, this age of Aquarius. And yeah, I just want to share that with you. And so if you do like this deck or any of the other decks, just go to good-vibes.tv to my Amazon store. You'll see the button and you can purchase this deck. All right, so let me also share. I want to talk briefly about let's see, a lady that I've talked to before or talked about before. Her name is Jill Lublin. So let me see if I can get this right on the screen. I want to add her. If I get rid of this one. So how do I do that? There we go. All right. So let me make it bigger. So this is her website. So Jill Lublin, who's a publicity expert, she is doing a special challenge. It's called a Publicity Breakthrough Challenge on August 6th through 8th. So just next week. At noon Eastern time, 9 o'clock, of course, if you're in Pacific time. She is coming from California. So this is an excellent opportunity to, and it only costs $1. It's a 3-day event with 1 hour each day. And you'll understand how to get booked on radio, TV, and major media in just an hour a day. This is over a 3-day period. You'll be able to learn how to craft a message that sets you apart and get national and international recognition for your amazing services. So this is so totally in line with the Lionsgate, in the lion energy of shining, right? Expressing your gift and being creative. So you can learn how to get free publicity in just an hour a day over the 3 days, and it just costs $1. So I would highly recommend this. I'm going to attend it myself just to kind of update my skills. And just go to tinyurl.com/capital GVTV PR challenge. And I will put that in the description as well. So that's what's going on there with Jill Lublin. And let me get back here. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about is the Longevity with Light webinar that I do every month. The next one is coming up on Thursday, August 14th at 8 p.m. And we're going to have a special guest. Our expert is Dr. Stanley Gravely, who is an expert in the LifeWave patches. And he's going to talk specifically about the Ice Wave patch, which is the patches to use when you are in pain, and it relieves pain like within 15 seconds. So we're going to learn about that. And the way to sign up is just go to tinyurl.com/longevity August 2025. It's just 30 minutes long. It's a webinar style, so you can ask questions in the chat, but it'll also be live streamed. So check it out. But if you go ahead and register, you'll get reminders and that kind of thing. So it's worth doing. So that is coming up on the 14th of August. And now it's time to talk about our tip of the week to raise your vibration. So, last week's tip was to take a gratitude walk, which is meaning taking a walk outside. And as you're walking, like noticing different things and expressing gratitude for the different things you see, not necessarily verbally, but internally in your inner dialogue as you do this. So, that's a great tip to do. And I've done it, and it totally raises your vibration. So, this week's tip of the week, what I want to recommend is that you reset with the ritual on Lammas, with a ritual on Lammas. One of the ones that I mentioned earlier that came from Paula Collins. So whether it's baking bread or lighting a candle for gratitude, go back earlier to the show and see, pick one of those rituals or a combination of them and practice them on Lammas today. And if you can't do it specifically on Lammas, you can always do it the weekend and have the intention that you're doing it within the energy of Lammas. All right, my friends. So I want to thank you for watching today. Um, it's been interesting that I had to readjust things, but hopefully you got some good information. And if you did, please go ahead and share this broadcast with other people that you feel could get great information from this. And until next time, I want to say, keep raising your vibration and thriving. Peace out, everyone. We'll see you next week.